Okay, time for another edition of Omega Man's Den of Randomness. Today is scooter people like this fella, no helmet. Yes, no helmet. I think that that it's kind of getting out of hand. I don't know if you live in a community with a large scooter population, but here in Nevada, I believe the rules. Okay, here's one. He's got a helmet. Right on, brother. If your scooter like his is 50 cc's or under, you don't have to have registration. I see how fast he was going and he wasn't looking. Great job. You don't have to have a license, and you don't have to wear a helmet. And I think this needs to change. Like I've mentioned in a previous vlog episode, I've worked with patients that come into the hospital and they were scooter riders and they were virtually uninjured, but they landed on their head and they're completely ruined, now a burden to their state, you know, and their families. Hey man, I do a video blog and I'm talking about scooters. Do you always wear your helmet?
Yeah.
Right on, because you think it's safer that way, right?
Yeah, man.
Right on. Excellent. So yeah, that's pretty cool. This young guy, he wears his helmet. But yeah, these patients, they're virtually uninjured, and their friends and family, you know, are devastated because now their loved one is a living vegetable. So I just think that their laws need to change. Don't look at me like that, sister. So another thing is, well, we all ride our two-wheeled vehicles differently. Lots of people are very sane and never speed or go in and out of traffic or split lanes, but I know I'm not the greatest rider. I get a bit aggressive at times, and that's one of the reasons I wear gear. But the way I see scooters being ridden around the city, people riding them, no helmet, with their legs straight down, not even on the pegs. I guess they think that at 45 miles an hour, if they start to crash, that they can just hop off. I don't know what the reasoning is. I don't know if maybe they came to a light and they had their feet on the scooter. They forgot to put them down and they fell over. I just don't know why they do it. But riding straight leg down the road with the soles of their shoes a couple inches off the ground, it just looks crazy insane. I'm a big proponent of gear, even though I still don't wear boots, but I've got to work on that. The riders don't wear gloves. And I'm pretty sure the young man, that even though he was wearing his helmet and always does, I don't think he had gloves on. I don't know, I wasn't really paying attention. But the way they're being ridden is pretty crazy, and I think part of that is because they don't have to have a license. So I don't know if maybe they think they don't have to follow the rules of the road. I've seen scooters cross 4 lanes of traffic in maybe 50 feet to try to make a turn because they weren't paying attention. I've seen them run into the back of vehicles. I guess they don't realize that those tiny little brakes on those things aren't really meant to stop very well. I mean, I'm sure the Chinese manufacturer thinks that they're great, but they aren't the best. And very often scooters are ridden by people that, you know, have less funds. You know, they can't afford a bigger, better bike, or maybe they just don't want to go through the hassle of getting their license or pay for insurance. But they're often in a state of disrepair. Now you see everybody's wearing a helmet today. Great. But they don't keep them in a very good state of repair. I often hear scooters just grinding metal on metal as they're braking for a stoplight or to make a turn. Very often they look like they've been painted with a rattle can. And here in Las Vegas, I heard a statistic once that I believe 30 or 40% of all the scooters on the road at any given time are actually stolen. On the very road I'm on, back there at that other intersection, I saw this brand new red scooter, and it was a large one. I'm sure it cost $4 or $5 grand new, but it was brand new. And the dude that riding it was he was clearly homeless because he had white clothing that was almost brown from the dirt and filth, and he was riding it. It's brand new, and the cops had him pulled over, and he had his hands behind his back. I don't think he was waiting patiently for them to tell him he could leave. I think he was getting arrested. But yeah, a lot of them are stolen. You know, there's something that really irritates me about a lot of the scooters around here, and it's petty. I'll say it right up front, but they say VIP on them. I don't know if that's a brand name, but it's just really ridiculous. You know, VIP in like 10-inch letters on the side of them. We might pass one. See, every day when I ride home, I see a dozen people, no helmets, riding VIP scooters. And of course, I don't see any right now. But that's the way it goes. Yeah, that bothers me, and I know it's petty. But there it is. Another thing, and I think I touched on this in a previous one, and it goes back also to helmets, but parents with their small children riding on a scooter. Excuse me. This really bothers me. The kids don't have a choice on whether or not to wear a helmet. And, you know, I get it. You have to get from point A to point B. And these are tough times. But for God's sake, you know, if you love your kid, at least make them wear a helmet. I mean, they're so cheap. And, you know, sometimes these little kids are, you know, dad's got a 50-inch waist, you know, and little kid has about 4 inches of seat behind his fat ass, holding on for dear life. And that really bothers me. And the cops don't care, because I've seen cops drive right by them. And again, because it's legal. And I'm all for, excuse me, I'm all for freedom. I think there's too much regulation in this world. But when I see what happens to these people in the hospital, and what I see is what's happening out on the street, it really bothers me. And I don't think that parents with small children should be able to ride around with them on the scooter. A tiny 50cc scooter with, I mean, let's look at the wheels, the tires. The contact patch is so tiny. and the steering is so squirrely. It'd be so easy to lose control. And I'll say up front, I've never ridden one of those small scooters, but I've seen what they do. You know, I've seen people losing control of them, tipping because they don't know, because they didn't have to go to any kind of riding school or take a test or get any training, that you don't brake on the front wheel while you're turning slowly, because you're just going to go over. But it just happens in an instant. I do not know what's wrong with my throat. But yeah. I do like some of the larger scooters, you know, to just get away from the complaining here for a second. These Bergmans, I believe they're called. I think it's a Suzuki. And if that's wrong, well, you know, I don't know much about scooters. They look pretty cool. And from what I hear, they haul ass. But again, I believe those are so large that I believe they can go on the freeway. And you have to register and insure and have a riding license, you know, so that's a completely different animal. But still, I think they're really nice. They look comfortable. They're not real loud. I don't like real loud bikes. And I guess that just comes from following my best friend around on his Harley. No offense to Harleys. I used to have issues with Harleys and Harley people, but I'm working to just let that go. But and I guess because I am a Goldwing rider, I like quieter bikes. But I'll tell you, the more videos I see, like of the TT and road racing, and just listening to the guys around the valley winding out their sport bikes. I mean, well, there's a couple of badass sport bikes. Yeah, I want one, and it could be because I'm 50 now, and I don't know, maybe I'm too old for one, and I just want something like that because I'm getting old. But I've been wanting to get on one and just tear up the road with it. But yeah, so that's my my bit on scooters. I think there should be more regulation. I don't think it should be legal to have little kids on the back of them without a helmet. And I think people should wear more helmets, period. And that's about it for this episode. I'll try to get back into the swing of things with with my vlog. I don't really have a whole lot of followers right now, so nobody's really missing out on much. But who knows? Maybe someday it might turn into something pretty decent, and people want to look back at the early days when I was a terrible editor and didn't know what the hell I was doing. Okay, so thanks a lot, and I'll talk to you next time.